It has a lot of weight and bounce.
And when you tie a knot, it's a nipple?
Yep. And the, or you can use like water balloons, though those have some liabilities. So, I'm going to leave it at that. Now, normally, I would put my makeup on first, because the last thing I want to do before I get dressed and put these layers of clothing on is go to the bathroom. But in order for this demonstration, I'm going to go now and turn it over to Patricia to talk about some of the other side stuff, and I promise to hurry. And so I will come back in and talk about some of the makeup things as I start going through that process. So,
All right. One of the basics that you need to think about when you're changing is you need to think about the basic cues that you have for genders. For males, you have a triangular shape, the shoulders going down to hips. Like I said, there are some guys that have bigger hips. My brother's kind of shaped like a pear. But if I want to convince somebody I'm a guy, I need to build my shoulders up bigger. So, and I want to minimize the fact that my hips come out like this, so I've got a definite waist even at my weight. So one of the things that I have found very effective is I use a weight belt, the belts that you use if you work at Sam's Club or someplace, to put around your waist to help protect your back. You put it on backwards over your boobs, and it squishes them very nicely. The other thing that's an advantage is you also want to squish them kind of high. Most people try to push everything down. You don't want to, because from the collarbone, a man's pectorals are up here. So you want to have some of it up here as well. Another way of getting that effect is to take cotton batting. I wouldn't recommend the polyester because it doesn't breathe and it doesn't absorb sweat. But take a layer of cotton batting and put it here above your chest, because depending on the size of your breasts and how tightly you've got the belt is going to make a difference into how much of a mound you have there anyway. But then you want to take and put something above that layer so that from the collarbone down you're coming out and then going straight down. Okay? Because when you turn to the sides, you don't want this slow slope out. All right? Another thing that you're going to look at is you're going to look at minimizing your waist. One of the best ways to do it is just hide your waist entirely. I like to wear suits. I actually went to Goodwill, can't think today. Went to Goodwill one Halloween because we wanted to do Morticia Gomez, and I said if I can find a suit that I can alter, I will go as Gomez. I found 2 suits. I didn't even have to shorten the arms and legs. There's apparently a short round band in Colorado Springs, so you've got new suits. So I was just thrilled. The advantage of a suit jacket is it comes down to about here, so they're seeing your legs. Well, obviously you can see with my face, obviously I'm heavy. So the big thighs nobody thinks twice about. But it keeps you from seeing, wait, what's all that indentation there? Because a man wouldn't dent in here, a man would go down like so. So that's one of the other advantages. You can take the suit jacket and add a second shoulder pad. Whatever costume you're doing, put a shoulder pad in. I know you might think, oh, that's so 80s. But men have broader shoulders and they have higher shoulders. Whereas women, when you just stand, your shoulder tends to slope downward. Men don't, because their muscles are built differently. They're constructed differently through here. And unless you are a female weightlifter, you don't have that shape. So you want to bring this up, okay? Another thing that you want to do is you want to work on your facial cues. Again, there are men that have round faces, there are women that have long faces. But you want to hit as many visual cues as you can. Your fingernails. Cut your fingernails badly. Don't sit there and very neatly trim them. Have some of them slightly different length. Bite off one. If you want to be a guy, you don't want perfectly done fingernails. Now, there are guys who get manicures and have perfectly done fingernails. You don't want that. You want them to look at the nails and go, oh, you know. It's another one of those little subtle things. Because when you look at someone, you'll pick up that kind of information. You might not even notice that a woman has a French manicure, but you'll know her nails are done. You might not notice exactly the details of it, but all this goes into your brain. So you want to take as many of these little things and let it just bypass the conscious mind and soak in on a subconscious level. For men, one of the other big differences is men have a heavier brow ridge. So for women, you want to highlight right along here. You want to put a little contour. For doing the contouring, the best thing to do, Ben Nye has a nice brown makeup that is matte, don't just go and buy any old brown eyeshadow because it's got glitter in it. That's not gonna work. You need to find a matte eyeshadow, and like I said, I have not really found anything at Walgreens or any of those places that works. I've had to go to, in Colorado Springs, Zizo's. Up here you can go to Studio Lights, but this is a fine face powder, and that's another thing. Face powder for women of darker skin is also very effective for shadowing for women of lighter skin, okay? Because what you want is you want something that's going to give a natural color. You're going to put it on very lightly with a brush. If you're going to be doing facial hair, you want to do powder. You don't want to put cream on. If you put cream where you're then going to try to adhere the beard, it's not going to stick as well. So you want to take powder, and you want to go from along here where sideburns would be, along here where the jawline is. You want to go underneath here because you're trying to darken this to make your jaw seem heavier, okay? You're also going to go lighter down the bridge of the nose and then darker right here, because again, you're trying to emphasize the brow coming out. You want to put dark around in here so your eyes seem to be dark or deeper set, because that's again another masculine cue. You want to also, pretty much every woman I'm looking at has the same problem. Our lips narrow at the sides. Even if you don't have a really pronounced bow-shaped mouth, your mouth is much narrower at the ends than a man's. One of the things to do, and again, I'm flogging Van Nye, but they have, it's a lip color pencil, it's natural, is the name of it, just neutral, natural, whatever. But it's a very basic, it matches most people's natural lip color. You're gonna take this, you're gonna draw from the point of the lip, and you're gonna go kind of almost in a straight line to the corner, and then fill all of that in with the lip pencil, okay? And you're gonna put just a little bit at the bottom of this to try to flatten out your lip. Now you don't want it completely solid flat. Another thing is eyebrow shape. Women's eyebrows arch. Men's eyebrows tend to be much flatter in you know, even if they're raising their eyebrows or whatever. Their brows are not as arched as women's. They're flatter. And one of the ways to deal with that is to take your eyebrow and take a brush and brush down, because you don't want it to go up here. You want it to go down. That will also make it look bushier, and it will fill in some of this, okay? So that's another cue, is the eyebrows. Pretty much, men, you're gonna reverse everything that I'm saying. You want to take your eyebrows, you want to brush them up, and you want to shape them. There's clear mascara that works really well for men, because you take clear mascara, you put it on your eyebrow, and then you brush and you comb it really carefully. Also, depending on how dedicated you are, if this is going to be something you want really to look really good or believable, you might trim your eyebrows a little bit. For women, you're going to need to actually draw in a few extra hairs, because men's eyebrows start pretty much right there. And most women, either their eyebrow doesn't start there, or if it does, they pluck it. So you want to draw just a couple of lines in there, lightly with a pencil, and because you want to get that eyebrow narrower gap here, okay?
Let me jump in.
Go ahead.
So I can keep going. Okay, like I said, kind of schizo, deal with this. Shut the door, if you would. Okay, one of the things that a lot of times guys are trying to figure out how to do, or whatever, is the issue of, first of all, you can see that what the pads look like. This is from Classic Curves, is the name of the company. You can find classiccurves.com to give me hips. Now, the trick is, one of the things, of course, is the issue of cleavage. If you're wearing something low cut, again, one of those cues is whether or not you're showing cleavage or not. And so one of the ways to do that, I talked to some people in Hollywood about how they did it. They said they used duct tape. I used duct tape once, and it worked really well. Then I used duct tape the second time, and the blisters on the sides were there for about another 6 months. So what I found works really well is NextCare, Walgreens, flexible clear tape. It's an athletic tape. It's got enough adhesion and strength that it will hold without ripping all of your skin off, which I think is kind of important for those post-cosplay opportunities. Now, what happens is, what you want to do is to create the curve. So you basically hook it under where you want to be able to get cleavage, and then you pull it together.